exactly. And this is something that I lived through. I was born in 1980. And my parents, as I mentioned, were part of agricultural universities, the Punjab Agricultural University, State Agricultural University in that state. They were all part of the dairy revolution. Infrastructure was set up in the first 10 years. European Economic Community, World Food Program helped India. Early 80s, World Bank gave a loan, direct marketing strategy, expanded production of milk, to several million liters a day. Phase 3, foreign hybrid varieties of cows were brought in because obviously the Indian cows didn't cut it. They were considered poorer yields. Growth hormones started. Indian government actually borrowed heavily from the USDA's Got Milk campaign and started airing that in 1993. And then finally, the Indian dietary guidelines were launched. Textbooks became the favorite vehicle, as they are in the US as well, of generating dairy awareness and embedding that idea that dairy is a complete food amongst school children. Chef AJ, so far.
I can't help but keep thinking about what you called the sugar, tea, and milk about being the trifecta, because I think of it as the evil trinity, because each of those things, the caffeine from the tea, the sugar by itself, the dairy, all three of those things are addictive. And then you're putting them together every day in a beverage that is now even more addictive.
Yes, exactly. So when we actually look at, I'm a board certified health and wellness coach as well, and obviously with a leaning toward whole food, plant-based eating. And I'm going to share with you, an initiative that I launched along with a friend with regards to this. We've got a forum online. It sources the South Asian diaspora as well as Indians living in India from over 53 different countries. About 2,000 people are part of it. And the big question that we get asked is, I can do everything else. I can give up everything else. Do not ask me to give up my chai. People have been enslaved by chai, and just the way people think about coffee in the Western culture, a sizable percentage of Indians, South Asian culture is just so enslaved by the concept of chai that they're addicted to it without realizing how it's controlling their life, their health. And then dairy, which is absolutely addictive, and it's got so much, and it's problematic, and it isn't even their own, but people think it's theirs, and so they've been gaslighted into believing that it's theirs. And we've seen that it really isn't theirs, and it never really was. So finally, this is the outcome, right? The abundance of dairy and abundance of diabetes. So what I've put side to side, head to head, are figures from 1954 to 2020. 17 million tons of total milk production, and now in 2020 it's close to 208 million tons of milk. India doesn't export much of its dairy. It's actually a consumer of dairy. So whatever it's producing, it's actually consuming a lot of it. And the incidence of diabetes has skyrocketed. It's the diabetes capital of the world. And for people my age, as I discovered 5 years ago, persons born in the late 70s to 80s are the first ever generation of South Asians to have experienced abundance of dairy. So it's not our ancestors, the Vedic ancestor. It wasn't Lord Krishna who was swimming in dairy, as mythological advertising will have us believe. It's really the modern day experiment, aided and abetted by the colonizers as well as the current government, that has led to this abundance of dairy.